They spent $40,000 on the golden child's wedding, then asked their quiet son to give up the college fund his grandfather left him. Not borrow it, not share it, give it up. Because in the Bennett family, Caleb's future was always negotiable. But his brother Mason's happiness was sacred. Mason got the parties, the applause, the second chances. Caleb got lectures about sacrifice, and when Mason's dream wedding went over budget, their parents looked at Caleb like he was the solution. They called it family, they called it love, they called it doing the right thing. But one envelope from the bank and one locked trust clause from the bank proved the money had never been available for a family vote. Caleb Bennett was the kind of son parents brag about when they needed to look good, but ignored when nobody was watching. He worked part-time through high school, kept his grades up, never got into trouble, never asked for much, and somehow that made him easy to overlook. His older brother Mason was different. Mason was magnetic. People noticed him. He could walk into a room late, tell one joke, and somehow become the center of it. Their mother Karen adored him. Their father Steve defended him. When Mason dropped out of community college, they said he was finding himself. When Caleb earned a scholarship interview, they told him not to get cocky. When Mason borrowed money and forgot to pay it back, they said he was under pressure. When Caleb bought his own laptop, they asked why he had not helped more with the electric bill. Caleb did not hate Mason. That was the part nobody understood. He just wanted his parents to stop acting like his dreams were less expensive because he was quieter. Grandpa Walter was the only one who noticed. He came to Caleb's debate competitions. He asked about his classes. He once drove 2 hours just to see Caleb receive an academic award. Afterward, while Caleb's parents were busy taking photos of Mason's new truck, Grandpa Walter pressed a hand on Caleb's shoulder and said, "Don't let them turn your silence into permission." Caleb did not understand it then, but he would. Years later, he would understand every word. Mason got engaged at 26. His fiancée, Brittany, was kind enough. But the wedding became a storm. A huge venue, open bar, custom suits, live band, designer flowers. Every week, Mason had a new emergency, and every week, Karen and Steve found a way to pay for it. Caleb watched from a distance. He was 21, accepted into a strong engineering program, and preparing to move across the state. Grandpa Walter had passed the year before. Before he died, he told Caleb there would be money for school. Not a fortune, but enough to keep Caleb from drowning in debt. Caleb had not touched it yet. He wanted to use it carefully. That made his parents uncomfortable. One Sunday dinner, Karen set down her fork and said, "We need to talk about Mason." Caleb already knew. Steve cleared his throat. "The wedding costs have gotten out of hand." Caleb said nothing. Karen smiled softly, too softly. "Your grandfather left money for you, right?" Caleb felt his stomach tighten. "For school." Steve leaned forward. "Family helps family." Caleb looked at Mason. Mason would not meet his eyes. "How much do you need?" Caleb asked. Karen answered too fast. "All of it." The room went silent. Caleb almost laughed because it sounded so impossible. "All of it?" Karen's face hardened. "You have scholarships." "Partial scholarships," Steve said. "You're smart. You'll figure it out." There it was, the family motto. Mason deserves help. Caleb will figure it out. The worst part was not the money. It was how quickly the family turned Caleb's future into a group vote. Karen told an aunt. Steve told a cousin. Mason told 2 groomsmen that Caleb was holding out over money. By Thursday, Caleb was getting messages from relatives who had not asked about his life in years. One text said, "College can wait. Weddings are once in a lifetime." Another said, "You are young. Mason has real responsibilities now." Caleb stared at those messages in his car after work, still wearing his grocery store name tag. His hands smelled like cardboard and freezer boxes. His back hurt from unloading pallets, and somehow everyone had decided that Mason's flowers mattered more than Caleb's education. That night, Caleb opened his college portal. Tuition due date, housing deposit, book estimates, numbers that suddenly looked like a wall. For the first time, he wondered if saying no would cost him his whole family. Then he looked back at the same screen. The tuition deadline was still there. The housing deposit was still there. The book estimates were still there. Not emotional, not dramatic, just numbers. And Caleb remembered what Grandpa Walter used to say. People who love you will not ask you to become smaller, so they can feel bigger. Caleb said no the first time, quietly, calmly, and the house changed temperature. Karen cried. Steve got angry. Mason acted wounded. Brittany stared at her plate. His mother said, "I cannot believe you would ruin your brother's wedding over money." Caleb replied, "I'm not ruining anything. I'm protecting my education." Steve slammed his hand on the table. "After everything we've done for you." Caleb looked around the room. He wanted to ask what that meant. Everything? The hand-me-down clothes, the missed school events, the birthdays where Mason's needs came first. But he did not say it, because Caleb had spent his whole life choosing peace. And peace had slowly turned into self-erasure. Over the next week, the pressure grew. His mother called him selfish. His father said he was ungrateful. Mason sent long texts about brotherhood. Even relatives started calling. Somehow everyone knew Caleb had money, but nobody knew why. That night, Caleb opened the wedding budget spreadsheet Mason had accidentally left in the family group chat. He stared at the numbers. Not necessities, choices, a photo booth, a signature cocktail, imported roses, a private after-party room. Every line item looked like something Caleb was supposed to become poorer for. And the strangest part was, no one had asked Mason to sacrifice anything. Only Caleb. Then the bank called. A manager said there was an issue with paperwork on the education trust. Caleb went in alone. And that was where everything changed. The manager placed a bank trust packet in front of him. "Your grandfather left these instructions to be released if anyone tried to access or redirect the funds." Caleb stared at it. His hands went cold. Inside was the trust agreement, a trustee certification, and a flagged call note from the bank. No speech, no sentimental message. Just rules his family could not bend. Caleb brought the bank folder to the final deposit dinner, 8 weeks before the wedding. Not because he wanted drama, because that was the night the last major payments were due. The ballroom deposit, the catering upgrade, the open bar, the live band, the flowers Karen kept calling non-negotiable, and because his parents had turned the whole family into an audience. So Caleb brought the truth to the same room where they had tried to corner him. Karen saw the folder and frowned. "What is that?" Caleb placed it on the table. "The trust documents from the bank." Steve's face changed. Mason looked suddenly nervous. Caleb did not read a letter. There was no final speech from Grandpa Walter. There was only a plain document with a bank seal, a trustee's signature, and language nobody at that table could turn into a family favor. Caleb opened to the marked page. Education Trust for Caleb Bennett, sole beneficiary, Caleb Bennett. Funds restricted to tuition, housing, books, required fees, and approved education expenses. No family redistribution. No discretionary release to relatives. Brittany looked up. Mason stopped moving. Karen's mouth opened, but no words came out. Steve reached for the paper. Caleb pulled it back. "There's more," Caleb said. He placed the bank manager's note beside it. Not emotional, not dramatic, just worse, because it was official. The bank had flagged the attempted withdrawal. Someone had called asking whether the account could be liquidated early for a family emergency. The note listed the caller's name, Karen Bennett. Caleb looked at his mother. "You already tried before you asked me." Karen's face went pale. I was just checking options. Caleb nodded slowly. For Mason's wedding, with my school fund. Nobody defended that sentence, because there was nothing soft enough to wrap around it. Mason finally spoke. It's not like you need all of it right now. And that was the moment Caleb understood. They were not confused. They knew exactly what the money was for. They simply believed his future could wait because Mason's party could not. Caleb closed the folder. Then he said the word they had never prepared for. No. Not loud, not shaking, just final. Karen cried harder. Steve called him ungrateful. Mason said he was embarrassing the family. Caleb stood. No, he said again. And tomorrow I'm asking the trustee to require 2-factor confirmation for every future request. None of you will contact the bank about my account again. That was when the room changed. Not because Caleb had yelled, because for the first time, he had made his boundary as official as the document in his hand. The wedding still happened, 8 weeks later, smaller, cheaper, less perfect than Mason wanted. The ballroom was canceled. The live band became a playlist. The designer flower package disappeared from the invoice. The open bar became a cash bar. Karen called it humiliating. Steve called it unnecessary. Mason called it Caleb's fault. But Brittany still walked down the aisle. People still clapped. Pictures were still taken. Cake was still served. The only thing missing was Caleb's future, paying for all of it. Caleb did not attend. Not because he wanted to punish Mason, not because he wanted people whispering about him. Because once his family tried to turn his education fund into a wedding budget, the room had shown him exactly where he stood. He was not the son they protected. He was the account they hoped would stay quiet. So on the morning of the wedding, Caleb loaded his car. 2 suitcases, 1 laptop, a folder of college documents, and the bank trust paperwork, tucked safely in his backpack. His mother called 17 times. His father left 1 voicemail. You're tearing this family apart. Caleb listened once, then deleted it. Because for the first time, he understood something painful but clean. A family that only stays together when one person keeps paying the emotional bill was never standing on love. It was standing on him. Months later, Caleb received a photo from a cousin. Mason at the altar. Karen smiling too hard. Steve looking tired. And an empty chair in the second row where Caleb should have been. Caleb stared at the photo for a while. Then he closed his phone and walked into his first engineering lecture on time. Caleb's story is not really about a wedding. It is about how easily a family can rename selfishness as sacrifice when the quiet child is the one paying the price. His no did not destroy the family. It only stopped the family from building happiness on his future. So now I want to ask you, if you were Caleb, would you still show up to the wedding after they tried to take your college fund? Or would you choose your future and let the empty chair speak for itself?